We had an issue with that today. So
Cramping in September in Orono, Maine.
could be a good thing sometimes, right? It means at least the weather hasn't gotten too cold yet.
Guys, ready?
Yep.
Okay, Coach, just two statements.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we have a ton of respect for what Coach Charlton and his staff, have built here. And, me being a former UNH guy, I know all how difficult it is to come up here and win in this place. And, we gave ourselves a shot, to win in the fourth quarter. We got to the red zone and give them credit. They found a way to get a stop when their back was against the wall. And, it's never just one thing. I think if you look back early in the game, we spotted them a couple points, with the turnovers and, the point after attempts were huge. At the end of the day, you can't make those types of mistakes and win on the road against a good program. That's exactly what UMaine is. But I thought the kids played their tails off. They played hard. We just got to regroup and get ready for another tough task next week down in Delaware.
Have you ever seen anything? Two block PA, 4 point swing there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because too, you saw like every time we got a little bit of momentum and we closed that gap, whether it was the 2 point after attempts that were blocked or even the kick return. And obviously we had one of our own that kind of set up one of our touchdowns too. So there was a lot of momentum shifts throughout the course of the game. And, I give credit to both Maine and our kids that no one, flinched. Guys continued to press forward in battle. At no point was it like, hey, the momentum went one way and it stayed that way. It continued to shift throughout the course of the game. Both teams played really hard.
How about the game for Jakari Carter? How was he successful today? Kept getting open. Maine could not slow him down.
Yeah, no, he's a kid that's really coming into his own. I mean, he had a little bit of success in the spring. He's playing underneath a really good player in Anthony Norsher, and unfortunately, injuries are part of the game. And we had three of our top wideouts were out today. A couple of them were game time decisions; they just weren't ready. So that thrust of Jakari even in a bigger role. And he had a big one last week versus Holy Cross, and we needed another great effort out of him again today, and he did. And he's a big reason he gave ourselves a shot to win at the end.
Coach, is there anything, your first and goal to 5
Yep.
when they made this stop, anything you look back on, you regret on that, or were they plays that, you thought would work and just Maine stuffed them out? Or?
Yeah, I think you can always go back in hindsight and say, if we could have won this, and they did. Honestly, we got kind of the looks we thought. We did a lot of check with me today throughout the course of the game. I don't know if you could see that from the sidelines, but getting into a formation, seeing what the look is, and having a menu of plays that we like out of that formation. And we got the looks we wanted, and at the end of the day, they did a good job of finding a way to get a stop, and you got to give them credit for doing that.
I've never seen 4 points on ever.
Yeah, it's been on you. I probably recall one time, but it's been a long time since I've seen that happen, and obviously that was a huge part of the game, no question.
Is that breakdowns in your part?
Honestly, I think operation time was a little slow on one. At least it looked like from the naked eye, and then the other one was just a missed block. But again, you got to give credit. Their corner, I believe his name's Richard Carr,
Yeah.
number 3, came off the edge, and it wasn't like he was attacking the same side. He came off both different sides. One of them, I do think, again, operation time needs to speed up a little bit. When an edge guy can get home like that, that usually means that we need to do a better job with the snap, the hold, and the kick. But the other one, he did a great job getting underneath our wing, and he made a play. Credit to him.
What's that?
Any other questions for Coach?
No?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me.
Good luck.
Yep.
Next week. What do you have next week?
You sit in the middle?
Sit next to you.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so we got Derek Robertson, Rich Carr, coach, and Kofi Bozzi. How we're going to do this, we're going to start right in with questions for the players, and then we'll save coach for the end. So any questions for the players, you can go ahead.
Okay, obviously, Rich, something I don't know is you may go a lifetime without seeing 4 points off extra points. Tell us about, the coach said the first one he thought was they were slow, but the second one you got in. Tell us about the 2 blocks and how they came about.
All week in practice, we really emphasized like that if we go hard enough that we could block a field goal. And it basically came down to who wanted it more. I was just trying to make a play for the team, put us in a position to win. And ultimately, that's what it came down to.
Were you blocked on either one?
Nah, not really.
Not blocked?
No.
But that's something, coach, they had noticed in film that,
Yeah, like that. They was very, it wasn't weak off the edge, but it was that blockable.
Derek, how do you assess your, 11 for 23? I thought some good throws. You missed a lot of good open throws too. What thoughts on the way you played?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's obviously good to get the win, but there's obviously a lot of room for improvement. And we're gonna, get on the film tomorrow and see what we got to fix.
Derek, what can you say about the long touchdown pass?
Yeah, it was great. We repped that up in practice all week. Looked good, and Freddie made a great play, and we executed in a good time.
You had to be pleased with the running game because when you needed the 2 first downs, Xavier got 1 and Elijah got the running game came through when you needed it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, our O-line and our running backs did a great job all day in the run game. So, yeah, for sure.
Both of the guy caught 17 passes, but when you needed a stop at the end of the game, you got it. What went on in that last series when you guys had to come up with a stop?
All I can say is we're the black hole. It's about next play mentality, so it doesn't matter how many passes he caught. All we could do is play the next down and focus on that down right there. So, in that moment, I just know that we needed a big stop, and I locked in on my keys, and I know everybody else locked in on their assignment, and we just made a play. And Rich came and made a play after that and got off the field. So we're going to keep on building, watch the film like Derek said tomorrow, build on top of it, just keep going because we know that wasn't our best play, and there's a lot more that we can do and show. So we're just going to keep going as a whole.
Anything else for the players?
It was a frustrating day for the defense for the most part, but again, it all comes down to making plays when you had to.
Yes, sir.
Did you guys feel that going into that last drive that if you could hold them there with the 5-point lead, that, you'd be able to milk the clock out?
Honestly, we knew the whole game that we can hold them, and we just, like I said, knew that in that moment that it was time to lock in. We couldn't worry about what had happened in the past. So, of course, we believed in ourselves, and it was never about them from the start. It was always about us, Maine Black Bears. So, yes, we knew exactly what was going to go down. We knew if we get them off the field and get a ball back in our offense hands, that they could take care of business and we can close it out with a win, and that's all that matters. We got win number 1.
All set?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Take questions for Nick?
Is that the weirdest game you've ever coached?
Nice start, Larry.
I mean, 4-point swing there.
I would argue the 2019 Rhode Island game might have been the weirdest game I coached, but I've been involved in some different games in my young career. That's obviously up there. I mean, hats off to Merrimack. Dan Kern does an excellent job. That's a program on the rise. I mean, they used to be a ranked team. I got a lot of respect for him and his program, and I always have. So I think they did a good job. They showed that they're a very capable team and will be a very good one the rest of this year. It was sloppy. I think that overall, anytime you get a stop on the 5-yard line when they have a fresh set of downs, and then we end the game in victory formation and execute 4-minute drill, that's certainly the positive. And there's a lot to take away from that. It's very hard to win a major college football game, and we obviously knew, what we were getting into at the beginning of this year, and we felt like we let one go the first game. Things didn't go the way we wanted to in the second one, but we felt like we just needed to get one. And obviously that wasn't our best performance, and there's a lot out there that we got to correct. We all know that. I mean, everybody in the room knows that. But a win is a win. And now the players feel that confidence. They know what it's like to go through that experience and win this team. And that's hard to replicate. It's hard to replicate it, and at the end of the day, we did it. It wasn't in the style I drew up. We would have liked to be able to close them out a little bit earlier, but you know what? Hats off to Merrimack, and we got to execute a lot better in the second half.
One of the points of emphasis in the first 2 weeks was getting more of a rushing attack. How do you feel like that went today? It seemed like it was better overall, just penalties and, even special teams putting you guys in good situations, but
Yeah.
how would you assess the ground game?
Yeah, I mean, especially as we could talk about when we get there, because I mean that you could argue that won the game, but and that's from a former special teams coordinator. But in terms of the run game, we got back to our identity. A lot of what we did in 2018 was a lot of some of these base plays, and we felt like Derek in his first performance, you got to usually try to help out with the run game, and we wanted to get it going anyway. So I felt like at times we did a really good job, and we were able to stay with it. I mean, at the end there, we basically called the same play multiple times except for the one to Xavier, which I was pleased with the guys executing that. But, we got to be cleaner overall. There's a lot to improve on, and I think in terms of the running game, it was good to get it going because now it's there.
Who says Derek?
I thought Derek played solid. I mean, there's plenty of throws there that we missed, and it wasn't all Derek. That's the one thing. I mean, there was a number of plays that I felt like we should have executed, a couple third downs that I was a little disappointed in just with the timing of things. That starts with everybody, though. It's not just Derek. So, I thought it was solid. He's a competitor. He didn't make a ton of mistakes that really hurt us. That's the one thing. And Derek's smart. I mean, Derek does a very good job. He's extremely prepared. So he was ready for this moment. And to be honest with you, this team, the style they play man pretty much every single play. That's tough because you got to make a lot of throws. It's not zones and you're fitting it into areas. I mean, this team plays you straight up, man to man. And so that means you got to make a lot of throws. So, I thought there was a lot of positives to take, but at the same time, he knows that wasn't his best performance and he'll get better. And, we got to do a better job overall on offense. And that starts with me.
Special teams, 33%, easier to say, harder to do, but like you said, that was one of the big differences in this one. Is that performance, is that style sustainable, and how important is that specifically for this offense to have that kind of performance?
Well, you have to play complementary of each other regardless. When you look at moments like, I'm pretty sure we had 2 interceptions that we didn't get any points from. That's part of being complementary with each other. And making big plays. And when you look at teams, that's a big part of this program. We always talk about that. Ultimately that accounted for a ton of points. And when you look at the 2 blocked PATs, that was something that we felt like we could get there, and we specifically put Rich there to do it. And ultimately it's his job to go make the play, so we can drop whatever we'd like. But Rich made the play, and there's things that Rich wants to get back from that game overall. But at the end of the day, we made those 2 plays and felt like they were there on film, and that turned out to be pretty important.
We also mentioned not giving up the big plays. Seems like for the most part the defense did that.
Yeah.
It was kind of death by a thousand paper cuts, if you will. But
Yep.
how do you assess that kind of adjustment that your defense?
I was encouraged by that. I was disappointed in our inability to get off the field. Jakari's a good player. We watch film and familiar with him coming out of high school. He's a good player, but they run a lot of drop back schemes and a few RPOs from pass options, and they were able to get him the ball. And we got to stop that. We got to get off the field. I thought there was too many times where they were able to stay on the field, and they do a lot of check with me on the sideline, so they're draining the clock, which is what they wanted to do. So, again, I thought they executed, but we executed when it mattered, and that's really all that matters.
That was going to be my next thing, Dave. We're going to the sideline basically every time. It looked like Peyton Manning calling audibles. What did you guys have to do? Did you do anything? Did you catch on to anything that kind of impacted the game later on?
Yeah, we mix it up. You do anytime you get a team that does call check with me, you check to check, you leave your calls, you do different things. So, there's different ways. We knew every snap they were going to do that 2 or 3 times because that's their style of play. And we knew, particularly in this game, that they were going to do it to try to hold the ball and gain possession, which, I'm pretty sure they did. So, at the end of the day, we made some adjustments as the game went on, but I just thought there was a couple times we could have gotten off the field.
We had Vince Thomas made a play.
Yeah.
Does he play much? He's
Yeah,
backup.
Vince is the backup rover, so Sam
He made a play
linebacker
on that
for
last
us.
drive.
Yep, he's on most of our teams. he has we're going to find out what the issue is on Monday, but he played with a club on his hand. He's probably one of the toughest kids we have on this football team, young men on this football team. He's a Navy prep transfer. Vince is probably like one of those guys that embodies the heart and soul of your team. I mean, he's on every special team. He's tough. I love Vince.
You gotta like the defense, I mean, they really weren't very good for most of the game, but that last drive, when you needed it, they came through.
Yeah, we just got to get off the field. We stopped the explosive. I mean, when you look at, what Carter did, his long was 18 yards.
Yeah, there was mostly.
But again, he's got 18 receptions. That's a lot of production. That's a ton of production. And we knew they were going to throw the football. We knew that going in. We practiced it all week, and ultimately we have to execute. So we got to look at some things that we're doing tomorrow, which we will. But it wasn't all defense. When I look at the last 3 drives, I'd have to look at it here, but we certainly punted on the last 3 and felt like we were in position to end the game, which I was a little disappointed in. Regardless of the situation that we were in. Yeah, it was 3 straight punts. So we went 3 and out, and then had a 5-play drive. I thought that at that point in the game we should have been able to execute and put them away, and we didn't do that. So hats off to Merrimack, but we need to be able to do that as a elite offense, regardless of who's playing.
Penalties, because you're off the field,
Right.
but the roughing the passer. They extend, they scored, now it's 29-26.
Right. Yeah, a lot of them were they're fundamental and technique
Bowman with a
penalties.
hold, no touchdown.
Yeah, and whatever, you can make whatever argument you want there, but they get called, and we were 2 penalized this game. We did a better job last game with it, but a lot of them were execution penalties, and they weren't all unsportsmanlike. Obviously, we had the roughing the passer, which we would have gotten off the field. That was a big one, but they're technique fundamental penalties, and we had too many of them because they hurt us on both sides of the ball and teams, honestly. And that's technique, that's fundamentals, and that's teachable and that's coachable. It's the one encouraging thing. I thought there was a lot of things going on in that game where I thought our players did a decent job as the game went on, keeping their heads and staying within the game and playing and worrying about Maine. And ultimately, I think that's what helped us win the game.
Seemed to be a lot of, for a first-time matchup between 2 teams, maybe it had to do with the weather or the heat of the action, but seemed to be a lot of physical interaction after the play a lot today.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that we'll address, but I thought overall, I think we had one afterwards, and that's something that always gets addressed regardless of whether you win or lose. But I felt like as the game went on, we kept stressing it because we wanted to keep our heads, and that's part of being disciplined.
One more? All set?
All right, guys, thanks.